Well, it's May. How do I know it's May? I have a calendar. But specifically in Almond Glen, I know it's May because of the silly controversies that pop up every single year in May. It's like as we get closer to that July timeframe when we're going to vote for a new board, or maybe it's the weather. I don't know. My name's Rob, and I'm the current president of the Almond Glen Owners Association. If you live in Almond Glen, you fall under it in some way. If you own here, you are the HOA. I like to point that out because a lot of times people will talk about the HOA this, the HOA that. When they say the HOA, I think they're talking about either the management company or the board. But the HOA is the community itself. It's all the members. So when the HOA needs something or the HOA buys something or the HOA does something, it's you. Now, you don't specifically do it because you got a lot going on in your life. All of us do. Recently, I saw somebody say, I'm not on the board because I have a life and a family and all these things. I have a life, a very active life. I also have a family. My daughter is going off to the governor's school in South Carolina. That was a ton of work. She got into the science and mathematics program, and she will be going off there in fall morning. So that's a ton of work as a parent. That's a ton of work as a child. I'm super proud of her, and I'm really just using this as an opportunity to brag on her. It takes more than just straight A's. You have to be well-rounded, community-oriented. You have to do a ton of community service. You have to go through an interview process. She's one of 68 girls in the entire state that was selected. If you don't think there's some parenting behind that in life, you're crazy. In addition to that, I have a full-time job. And when I say full-time, I'm like most people. I work probably 60 hours a week on average. And then from there, I have a wife. She works a full-time job. And when I say full-time job, I mean she works probably about 60 hours a week. She also travels about 15 weeks out of the year. So that leaves me at home to try to do things that she would normally do around the house, and we kind of share those responsibilities. In addition to that, I have a second job that I work, and it's mostly because it's an opportunity to make a little extra money on the side, and it sets me up for a good retirement position. So that's an extra 15 hours a week on average, plus all the life stuff that goes on. And I get about, on average, I think it's the little wristband I wear that tells me how much sleep I get, around 3 hours of sleep a day. Good sleep. So it's not bad. I'm not complaining. That's the way I like life. So I'm sure many of you watching this are like, I feel that right there. So I'm just getting some steps in real quick because I have to go meet some folks for breakfast for my second job this morning. And I'm kind of looking forward to that because they're good people. Like 98% of the people in this community. And really, there's nobody bad in our neighborhood. It's just people who are jerks. So you know who you are. You get on the internet, you clickety with your fingers. You say things that you would never say to a person in their face. You say things that you think sound smart, but the reality is the community does not read it and think, oh, you look smart. I don't ever get any emails from people who are nice and supportive and helpful in the community saying, hey, Rob, you got destroyed today by them. They were so on top of it. They sounded so reasonable and you sounded crazy. That never happens. What happens is people say, why do they say the things they say? Why do they act the way they act? And I don't know the answer other than they're just jerks, I guess. So if you're a person who acts like a jerk, stop it. Just stop. Go back and read the comments you post. Look at the things you say. It's craziness. So the latest controversy, for anybody who's not tuned into social media, and I will tell you, I got on Facebook for the first time last night, and I was like, what? We are in a transition between AMG, the management company that I helped hire in like 2013, I think it was, and IPM, the new management company that the board's bringing in. This decision was made behind closed doors because we're not pleased with the current services we have. We don't want to get into a situation where we disparage the company that we're leaving. We're leaving mid-contract. So for anybody who's ever left mid-contract and you're trying to avoid anything that's going to cause bumps in the road or anything like that, you can understand it's a little delicate. Not mad at AMG. We just don't like the services we're getting right now. We're not saying AMG is a bad company. We just don't like the services we're getting right now. We're not saying other people shouldn't hire a company like AMG specifically. We're just saying that we in this community don't need AMG anymore. We need a different company. We need a fresh start. So we looked around at a couple companies. We ended up hiring IPM. We talked about this in a board meeting recently. I'll post the video up. I just haven't had a chance. Okay, a little grace, please. And I think that's the thing. When I say, please give me a little grace, I'm talking to 10% of the neighborhood, because 90% of the neighborhood's like, thanks, Rob. You know how I know? Because every year that I've ever ran for the board, I get voted back in. And it's not because I'm an amazing person. It's just because I say things and people go, that sounds right. Stop doing the things you're doing and expecting different results, guys. The new company's coming in, and when the new company comes in, they're going through this transition process. Partly we're relying on the outgoing management company to send over the files that they need, get the information to them that they need, provide them with email addresses, owner information, that kind of stuff. The question has been asked, shouldn't that be the HOA's responsibility? Yes, it is. I need you to send me your information, but you don't always do it. You're the HOA. It's your responsibility as a member of the HOA to make sure the management company has your information. You're the HOA. You send your info in. I don't know why you think the board, which is what you mean, I think. I don't know why you think the board of directors has everybody in this neighborhood's personal information written down on a piece of paper someplace that we keep in our home and we can send off. That would be crazy. The last thing I want is for you, a member of the board or a former member of the board, to have all my personal information, like my email address, my phone number, my date of birth, my bank account information. I don't want you to have all that. I don't care if you have a way to contact me, but I don't expect you to keep a list of everybody in the neighborhood. Not to mention people move out of the neighborhood, new people move in. There's a transition process there. It's difficult to keep up with. So in order to manage that, we tried to look for a company called a management company. The management company comes in and they manage that for you. Well, if one of the things we're not pleased about is the way our files have been kept track of and organized, that's a clue. That's what I do for a living. I look for clues. I just point and I go, that's a clue. It's not hard. So the clue here is that the outgoing management company needs to transmit the information to the incoming management company, and then they reach out to people. They're well aware there's going to be a difficulty in some of the transition process. So for instance, there are people in the neighborhood who have no idea that we're transitioning to a new company. They probably don't know who they pay their current dues to. And that's fine. They'll miss a payment. They'll get a letter from IPM. They'll be very angry. They'll call up all flustered. Why do I have missed payment? I don't even know who you are. They'll get the information. They'll contact the board and say, I didn't even know we were changing. We'll say it's no big deal. It's a transitional process. We expect people to get missed in the whole thing. Make your dues payment, you're good. Or they'll have paid their old payment accidentally to AMG, and it'll get forwarded over. It'll get credited. Worst case scenario, AMG steals the money. It's just not gonna happen. We'll take care of it. It's fine. We got you. But that's the thing. The people out there in the community who are reasonable, they know that. They're not worried about it. And the unreasonable people, they know that too. They're just being unreasonable because it's fun to do. It's fun to get on the internet and be like, we got Rob. He talked about being transparent, and now he's not being transparent. We are being transparent. Hey guys, we have a new management company coming in. That's it. That's it. When I was talking about a lack of transparency, I was talking about, why can't I get a copy of a contract you signed? Like when you signed a terrible management contract that you didn't need to sign. I've had people say, well, we were out of contract. No, we had a reoccurring contract from 2013 that was very beneficial to this community. And then the board came in and they signed a new contract with AMG that was not beneficial to this community. It hurt us in multiple ways and it's been a pain to get out of. Or when you spent $4,000 on a single townhome's property and it was a board member's property after that board member had reached out to the board and wanted $8,000 and then $4,000 worth of work done on the yard. And the board kept saying that the townhomes don't have the money for it. And they spent the money anyways, but they buried it in with a bigger amount of money that they spent. Or when they used single family homeowner dollars only to pay for work that was done up at the pool because they changed the way that they split the community up. and didn't have townhomes pay for anything at the pool, which we got fixed. Or when they didn't raise the dues for the townhome owners, even though they were seriously deficient, causing us to have to cause a massive raise in dues to get everything caught up finally. I'm trying to think of all the other ors. Or the time that I asked for a copy of the contract for the towing company so I could see, what did you sign? And they didn't want to tell anybody. And I had to argue, and then they finally, begrudgingly, it's still on Facebook, here, Rob, since you're making such a big jerk, being a jerk about it, make a big deal out of it, whatever. Or when they recorded themselves and accidentally forgot to delete it, making a meeting where they were talking about how they were going to do the budget and all this stuff, and had a little secret meeting where they sat and cursed about board members, and that video still exists. That's the lack of transparency that I talked about. Not, hey, we're switching to a management company and I haven't got a letter yet. Don't be silly. If you go on the internet and you post with your name, I'm not gonna pay because nobody gave me the information, and the information's right there, we are absolutely gonna use that to the benefit of the HOA, which are all these homeowners around me who are paying their bills. And the joke of it is, you're gonna sass like that and be silly, irresponsible, advocate that I don't have to pay my bill because nobody personally told me about it. Well, here's the email address. Nope, you didn't tell me about it. Okay, fine, play that game. Good luck to you. You know who doesn't have to go to court? Me. I won't be there. Attorney for the Homeowners Association will be there. We have a foreclosure process set up. Every board member from last year knows that. That's the one thing we can easily do. Silly. So, I don't want anybody to think I'm mad. I think it's dumb. It's a big dumb waste of time. Getting on the internet, running your trap about how you're gonna not pay or whatever is dumb. Thank you though. We have proof that you do know that there's a new management company. We have proof that you did get the email address for how to reach out to them. We have proof that you have the ability to make the payments. You are legally bound to make the payments. You must, in South Carolina, at least pay your dues. Nothing you can do about that. You signed a contract. You got to do the things that the HOA says. Why do you keep your yard nice? Hopefully because you're a responsible homeowner. But if you don't keep your yard nice, we can come and tell you to clean it up. You can say things like, you know, once the HOA pays my stuff, they can come, which again, that's your neighbors. Once everybody else in this neighborhood pays for my yard, they can tell me what to do with my yard. Nope, that's not how it works. You signed a contract. You are irresponsible if you don't live up to the obligations of your contract that you signed. These are stupid statements. They're dumb. They cause division and arguments within the neighborhood. They cause people to be frustrated. They're silly. Stop. Stop doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. People are not watching this video right now and thinking like you are, oh, look at Rob, he's such a fool. Nope. They're watching this video going, thanks, Rob. You're saying it again. You're telling them exactly how they are. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to run for the board in July again. Why am I going to run again? Because the community needs people who are reasonable and level-headed, who don't go and just spend money to spend money. You know what we spent money on this year? The pool. Go up to the pool. If you're not a pool person, stop by the parking lot. It looks beautiful this year. We had the mushrooms repainted. We painted the shower that's up there for the first time ever. Didn't even know we could do it. Same company that did the mushrooms, like, you want us to paint the shower? Heck yeah, it'll look beautiful. We got new furniture for the pool because it was time to replace it. That came out of reserves, not from a raise in dues or anything like that. We've done tons of landscaping stuff around the neighborhood, little projects everywhere. Stop being silly. Nobody thinks you sound smart when you go on there and you rant about dumb things that people are like, you're not even late. Nobody's told you, hey, you're late with your dues or anything like that. Please. I'm a normal, reasonable, rational guy. I have a normal life. I work. I have a kid. I have a wife. I live in the neighborhood with you. I've got gray hairs from all the years of hanging out and doing all the stuff. I'm not a child. I'm not 32 years old. I'm not a young guy who's out here. I'm 50 almost. The last thing I want to do is argue with you on Facebook like we're 12 about silly things. If you want something done in the community and you think it's a good idea, shoot me a message. And if I can at all help you get it done, I'm gonna do it. Parties that you guys have tried to have in the past, we've tried to find ways to come up with funding for it through creative means, like the pool fob sales and things with the late fees and stuff like that. But at no point have I ever said, hey, yeah, you know, it's okay, we can spend dues on your parties. I just said we can't. But I'll try to find a way to get things done. When people in the community have had late fees and dues that they couldn't make payments on, we figured out a way to help them out. We've got people who've donated before in the past. When a guy in a community needed a bicycle, this community gave him a bicycle. It's a nice neighborhood. It's a good place to raise your kids. Just stop causing ridiculous controversy for yourself. It's Memorial Day weekend. I'm a veteran. I know guys who lost their lives. I know girls who lost their lives. I know families who lost loved ones. And I know people who've suffered over the years and have committed suicide related to their experiences in life and probably their stuff that they had going on at the military. And I know the families who are left behind and suffered from that. That's what this weekend's about. It's not about arguing with your neighbor over whether or not you're gonna pay your dues or not. Of course you're gonna pay your dues. And in the end, you're gonna pay your dues. And I'm gonna call you out specifically and be like, hey, such and such, thanks for paying your dues, we got it. So that everybody in the community can see you paid your dues. So stop it. You're gonna end up looking dumb in the end. And I'm not trying to make anybody look dumb. Well, I mean, this video is pointing out some dumbness, but you can go ahead and delete your posts and most people will never remember it, except for those of us who screenshot them. So I gotta go to breakfast, I'm gonna be late. You guys have a great day. Have an amazing Memorial Day weekend. For everybody who is watching this video and going, what is wrong with these people? They'll be fine. I guess it's just the internet. All right. And in case anybody thinks, you know, like, oh, I'm all mad and everything, I'm not. I'm just asking for the sake of everybody else to stop it. Have a great weekend. Take care. That was like 17 minutes long.